Hi everyone, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the one key element that is very important for your job search. Probably that is the one element which is missing out of your job search process. So this is going to be relevant for everyone who is new to Canada and probably for people who are elsewhere in the world right now and facing troubles with their job and they have lost jobs and looking for a new one. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about that one very specific key element. So stay tuned for knowing more about it. But before going into that, I would like to share the status of the Canadian job market. I know a lot of you are keen to know what is happening in Canada, so I got this one notification yesterday about the job market status right now. I'm going to put that up on the screen so all of you can see that. So what does it say? It says that Canada has added back more than 400,000 jobs recently in the month of July. So the stat says that Canada lost more than 3 million jobs in the month of March and April due to COVID. So all those COVID-related jobs are more than 3 million. Just see the impact in the Canadian market. And the latest data shows that more than 1.7 million jobs have been recouped. People are getting their work back. And it is believed that adding those jobs which were lost during the COVID time is relatively easier, but adding new jobs to the economy is going to be harder. So anything beyond that 3 million point mark is going to be much harder for economy because then it's related to the growth. So that is the status of the Canadian market right now. And out of that 400,000, more than 80% of jobs were recouped in part-time scenario, part-time jobs, contracts, and only 18% were full-time jobs which have been provided. So the dynamics are changing in the Canadian market, and this is something I thought that all of those who are looking to come to Canada, they must be aware that what is happening, how COVID has impacted it, and how the recovery is happening. Still, I would say that Canada is in much better shape to recover. If there is going to be no second wave, then perhaps they're going to recover much faster. Probably they'll add more jobs than 3 million point mark. But this is the exact status right now in Canada. So those who were looking to have that kind of information, this was for you to stay updated what is happening in Canada. And if you have a plan to come here, so this is the status right now. Now coming back to the original topic, which is that one key element, that one key ingredient that you need to have your first job in Canada or probably find another one in the different country or different scenarios. So that key element is the one simple word called networking. So I know you all must have heard about it. I know some of you must be practicing it, but I'm going to show some more insights about what it is and how it works and how it has worked for me in the past. So why is it important, especially in the context of Canadian market? So in Canada, the culture is that when somebody is putting in a word for somebody, then they believe that person. So that culture of trust is there, and they put much more importance on that piece of word coming from somebody rather than seeing a paper document which we call as resume with all those fancy designations and years long experience. It works, it adds value, but if you have somebody who can put in a word for you, that's going to work amazingly well for you. It's going to bring a lot of value to your application, and probably it's going to filter out your resume from 500,000 people applying for one single role. So that is the impact of networking in Canada. And you are not going to hear this only from me, but there are so many people who can tell you about this. There's going to be tons of people who have experienced this, who have seen this, and they will come and tell you that you will have to have connections in Canada to start your first job. If you have already done that, then even to grow in Canada, you need connections. So that is why networking is very important in Canada. It is important in other markets as well, but in Canada, it is definitely a must have thing if you really want to build your career here. And it is not specific to finance, but it is sector agnostic. So you talk about any kind of profession apart from healthcare, where it's a need-based profession. It is something which people can't survive without. But if you talk about other generic professions, then okay, networking is something which you should always have in your kitty for when you're looking for work. Now the question comes, how do we do networking? Right? Most of the people don't know it because they've never done it. Especially coming from India, I was in India. I knew it, but not to the extent where okay, it's a perfect scenario for me, and I can go out straight away and reach out to people. I reached out to people in India because I was in consultancy, I was in advisory, so my role involved that kind of behavior where I had to reach out to people, to build network and to work along with people. But for somebody who has never done it in the past, some professions don't require it at all when you are in when you were in India. So how do we do it? What does it mean? So there are two parts to it. One is that how you reach out to people. What are the mediums that are there? That is the first part. Like what kind of platforms you can reach out to different people in your domain. So there are social media platforms, which I would call probably Facebook, Instagrams, where you reach out to people who are already in Canada, who are probably immigrants like you, and they have established themselves. Just reach out to them and try to create your network. Second, I would call professional platforms, which is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best example. I'll come back to LinkedIn again because it is so critical in the entire scheme of networking. Third is mediums like emails. When you send emails to people, it may sound like a cold email, but you have to send them to people, right? If you can't find them on LinkedIn, but you have the email ID, just reach out to them. Fourth medium could be attending conferences, events. These are called independent platforms where you are reaching out to people through going to meetings, conferences, which are professional conferences, and then meet people who are like-minded, who are in the same profession, who have established themselves. You just go and show your face to them, and then you do that repeatedly so that they see you in multiple events, conferences, and then they know that okay, you are there, who's very serious about the profession, and you're following everything. So that is fourth medium, and fifth medium probably is to have community participation, where you go to temples, gurudwaras, you become part of an NGO, you do community service, you participate in all those things. So that becomes a digital medium where you make connections. And when I talk about networking, uh, people who are new to the country, I know they are looking for work, and that is an immediate pain. But all these things are going to build a network. It's not only going to give you a job, but also you're going to have tons of people around you, so that you don't feel alone in a new country, right? So the first thing is medium, and these are the five mediums that I could identify. There can be many more mediums, but these are the major ones. Now the second part of how do we do networking, right? So the second part is how do you reach out? What kind of message you should send, right? Uh, don't When you're reaching out to somebody and you are in a need of work, I know it becomes a desperate time at that point in time. Don't show that desperation. Just reach out with an intent that you really want to network. You really want to connect. You want to know the guy. You want to know that person. You want to know about the industry. Don't send a message, hey, I'm new to the country. I'm looking for work. If you come across anything, please let me know. I'll be happy to have a look at it. Don't send messages like that. It becomes important that you send a message which shows an intent that you really want to network, you want to learn from their experience, and you want to get used to the culture and the kind of work ethics that people have here, right? And you want to know about industry where you are planning to work. So send messages which are much more directed towards knowing the industry and the person. Don't send messages which are directed more towards, okay, this is an opportunity, if you can refer me there. It's not going to work. It might work with some of them, but in general, it's not going to work. So you will have to refine your tone, what kind of message you're sending, and to whom you're sending. So there is no standard template. I'm going to share some of the messages that I shared with people when I was new and I was reaching out, but there's no standard message that you can send. It has to be refined for each and every individual you're reaching out uh, based on how you identify them and where you relate with them. So there can be standardization in terms of the process, that what you have to follow and what you need to do. But in terms of message, you have to fine tune each and every message that you have, which is so that you can relate to that person closely, and they feel that yeah, he's somebody from the industry and I need to help. And when you do that, when you send proper messages, when you follow the process, and then slowly what happens is that they start building confidence in you, right? They start trusting you. They start to know that okay, you are somebody who has knowledge. It's just that you are new to the country and you are facing trouble, so they become more open to help you, right? they'll keep a track for you and they will try to help you as much as they can. And let me tell you about one thing which is very good with Canadians, and I will call all those person who have been immigrants and now Canadians. I'll call all of them as Canadians, and one very good thing about them is that, which I really liked, and probably those that is one of the things which has kept me in Canada. I did not ever think about coming back to India, but those things are really, solidified my intent to stay in Canada and build my career here and my life here. So that one small gesture was whenever I used to go out to meet people for a coffee meet, they have never let me pay a single penny for the coffee. So just see that people are nice, they are willing to give you time. It's just that you have to approach in a right manner. So that is an art of networking, and you can't really just bang on send a message, hey, I'm looking for work, can you help? It's not going to work. It will only work when you have a history with that person, right? When you have built a relationship. So you have to build a relationship first, and then you can send straight away a message. Hey, I have looked at this opportunity. You have a connection here. Probably you can help me, and then they'll be happy to help you because they know you as a person. So that is very important when you think about networking as a concept. So now, when I say that build relationship, you also have to keep in mind that don't always talk about work and business. Build relationship on personal level as well. Ask about how they are doing, send them regular messages, keep a check on them. Like what I did previously was I made a practice. Every week I used to send new message to new people to whom I've connected in the past, checking about how they're doing right now. It's COVID times, it's hard for most of the people around in the world. So you just have to take out some time, keep a check on them, ask if they are good, their family is good, their wife, their kids, their parents, people back home from their family, whether they all are good. So all these things will build your relationship with them. And then you're talking about things which are not work. And then once a while, when you talk about work, when you actually need their help, it doesn't look odd. It looks so much part of the entire theme of networking. So it doesn't come completely out of the blue and you straight away hit them with a message, hey, I'm looking for work. Please help me. It's not going to work. So when I say build on relationship, so when you talk to them, it has to be a mix of your professional knowledge, like how economies are performing, how's Canada doing, how's India doing, how's Asia doing, how's Europe doing, how's US doing. It can be anything. That can be part of the business talk that you're going to have, and then there can be a mix of hey, people in Canada love to talk about weather, so you know a little bit about weather. Oh, how's the weather this time? Oh, last year it was different. Oh, I'm seeing so much heat this time. It wasn't there last year. Oh, I'm new, I don't know about it. How was the weather last year? Talk about those things. People follow basketball a lot here. Talk, if you know, not everyone can have interest in those sports, but if you have interest and if you follow, talk about Toronto Raptors, talk about Blue Jays, talk about different teams and build that relationship. And slowly there, you're going to be so much part of each other that you'll be more than willing to help at any point in time. So don't just talk about business, talk a mix of things so that your intent, which was there before sending the first message, it is still there. You keep sending a message, you keep a check on them, you update them with what is happening with you. So when I say, don't talk about saying, hey, I need your help in work, you can send that after a while. Once you have built on the relationship, right? And uh, even you don't have to send that. Like if you're talking after a while, like say 2 months, 3 months, after the last message you sent, or you have touched base with each other, after 2 months, if they're saying hi or you say hi, just send a general message, and then probably in the discussion in the second message you can say, hey, I'm still looking for work, I did not get it, but that's okay, I'm liking the country, I'm liking the environment, if you're genuinely liking it, of course. And you have to be true about it, what you're feeling. So you can say, I did not get the work, I'm looking for an opportunity. For now, I'm working part-time somewhere, or I'm doing survival jobs. So you can share all those things so that they empathize with you as well, but they know what you're doing, they are updated, so that they don't forget you. If you're sending first message and then not coming back to them, not maintaining that contact, then it's very easy for somebody to forget you, especially if you don't stand out in the first meeting or the first conversation. So, so that's part of how do you do it. It is so much more to it. I'm just summarizing it for you and how you want to do it. Now, many of you must be thinking, oh, this is a long term game. My problem is now. I need to work tomorrow, next week, next month. I know you are in pain. I know everybody was in pain. And but this is not going to work in short term for sure. People might refer you, but uh, only simply giving their emails to the job applications that you're applying for is not going to help. You want people to go and speak to the hiring manager. You want people to go to speak to the human resource manager. Okay, this is the application. I've seen this guy. I know this guy. I know he's good at work. I know he has knowledge. You need people to go to them, spend some time from their routine, which is a big obligation. If you take that in that way, if they are taking out time from their busy routines to go out to somebody and talk to you, that is what you want to create. So it's not something which is going to happen in short term. It is going to take a medium term to a long term horizon, right? It may not happen in a week, a day, or a month, but it can take months and probably an year or two as well at times. I mean, you don't know. And you don't know the network you created today is going to help you when. It's just that it has to be part of your routine and your culture. You need to know people, and without an intent that they are going to benefit you. You just think that if they don't get you a job, they're still sharing their experience, which gives you a lot more head start than when you learn it yourself. So if somebody is sharing from their experience, you can leverage that experience and probably go two steps ahead instead of going one step at a time. So you need to think it from that perspective. And when you're new to the country, you don't feel alone. So there are people, and uh, if there's a situation that comes in front of you and you need people to have opinion from, then these are the people who are going to help. You can reach out to them, send them a message. Hey, I'm looking for this thing. Hey, I'm facing this problem. What do you think about it? I should do it. I should not do it. Just keep them engaged. Give them respect. Make them feel that their opinion is valuable and you really appreciate it. And if they say no to a thing, if you have a valid reasoning to counter that, do that. I'm not saying that, oh, the other guy is, whatever he's saying has the final word to it. Don't do that. Give a counter reasoning if you have a valid reason, but otherwise, if you have taken their opinion and you trust that person, follow their advice and follow the course. Like, for example, if you come across a job opening where you think is relevant for you, and the other guy who's in the organization, the same organization, says, hey, I looked at it, I know your experience, it's not going to fit, and you might not like it. So value that advice. Don't try to bypass him and apply yourself to later find out, oh, yes, you were really not a fit for that particular role, and then this guy comes to know, then your trust, whatever you have created, is completely gone. Don't do that. Value your relationship, build on that, take their advice and build on it. So don't try to bypass. If you don't trust that guy, don't talk with him. Don't stay connected. Don't call him your network. It's better to let him go and stay on your course, whatever course you decide to be on. So that's important part of networking, and that is how you build. Another thing which I want to highlight is, uh, we understand that you are new to the country, and somebody who's already established is probably a step higher than you, and you need to respect that. But you should also be open, and you should, as a peer, you should also give some inputs to the relationship. So when you talk to them, when you discuss with them, if you see there is anything which you can see as an outsider to their life or their professional journey, contribute to it. Speak out your heart. Tell them, okay, yeah, hey, I think probably this can be your next career move. Maybe you're not thinking from that perspective because you're in a routine. You're in a box, you can't see it. But as an outsider, I can see that potential. Probably these are the opportunities you can look for and try out in the market. This can be a good career move for now after having these many years of experience. So these kind of inputs when you give, again, you build even stronger relationship because it's a relationship where you both have to contribute. You can't expect sitting on this side that somebody's gonna keep giving you anything, but you have to reciprocate, and people don't mind it. If you have peers, this is the situation where you don't have the job, but you have the experience. You have also seen the life. You have your things to share. You have knowledge. Share that knowledge, and they will appreciate it. So that's another thing of networking. So build this networking skill as part of your routine. Imbibe that. It's going to be part of your culture, your workflow now. So take it as something which you have to do, you should do to grow professionally. It's not about your first job, but even if you want to grow in your careers later on, these are the people who are going to help you later on as well. Like if you have had to start without anybody's help, you're starting, but this is something you don't want to do, or you want to grow much faster, or you want to grow to a position where you work back home in your native country. So now you want to grow. So these are the people who are again going to come back in the picture. You can reach out to them. Hey, I'm looking for change. If you come across, you can let me know. Now sending this message is going to work. But sending this as a first message, which when you are reaching out to a person who is entirely alien to you, they doesn't know you and they don't know about what you're made of, it's going to sound so weird. So don't do that. But now you can send it. And now I'm going to share about my experience, how it worked for me, and how much time it took. So I'm putting up some screenshots on the screen right now so you all can see the kind of messages that I sent initially. This is just one example related to one conversation, and I'm sharing specifically this one because this is the conversation, or this is the connect that I made in Canada last year in July, has worked for me. Because of this connect, this friend of mine, uh, I was able to get a job. And so yeah, so I'm working now. It's been more than 2 months, and because of this guy, I was able to get it. Because of this friend of mine, because of this network, as you may call it, for this video, he was able to help me, and I was able to get into that role. So if you see that message, the workflow, the entire messages that I've written. So just focus on the first message that I've written. The second message should be the moment they accept your connection request, should be a thank you message, thanking them for giving their time to accept the connect request. And in the same message, you can have another request for probably a 30 minutes coffee meet, probably a 30 minutes of call, probably 30 minutes of virtual meeting, like a Zoom session or Google Meet session, uh, so that you put a face to a conversation. So when you send a message, they've not seen your face, so when you do that video session, they see your face and then they remember it. So it becomes a photogenic memory. So do that in the second message, send a request. And if you see the message, you must be knowing that you have to appreciate that they are busy, they have work, they have other commitments. And your tone should be a requesting tone if they can find out some time. And if they can meet you or talk to you, that will be great for you to understand how things work here, how's the industry here. And then building on those conversations, you have to send follow-up messages after a while, and you should have at least 2 or 3 or probably 4 rounds of conversation before that actual time comes when you need them to be there and put in their word for you. So if they come across any opening in their organization to which you want to apply, then before asking, hey, this is an opening, can you refer? If you have a history of probably 3 or 4 messages, then they will be in a much better position and shape to actually help you and put their referral to your name, right? And be mindful that when somebody is referring you, it's merely not just giving their email ID to your job applications part. It's about their reputation as well. So and that is why it again emphasizes on the fact that you have to be in a relationship where there is a lot of trust. You have to be open, you have to be transparent, you have to tell them what kind of work you're looking for, you have to tell them what kind of work you have done so that they exactly know what your experience has been and to which kind of role you can contribute the maximum, right? So be transparent to them. And when that moment comes, when you want the referral, your message should be like, hey, I came across this. I think this is good for me. I can relate to this role. I'm thinking of applying for it. What is your advice? What do you think about it? Can we do that? Take their advice. Don't put it on them. Don't hit them with a message, hey, I want to apply for this. Please give me your referral. I want to apply. Don't do that. Take their opinion. They are in the organization already. They know how it works. They know what's best for you. So send them a message which has the request. The intent of message is getting their advice. It's not about just burdening them with what you want. It's about taking their advice and whether they think that you are a good fit for that role in their organization or not. So all those small things, but very important to build on it, and then slowly you do it. So if you see my messages, just see my first message was in July 2019, and that was already after probably 5 months of me being in Canada. I wasn't having any job, so first 3 months I studied, and then uh, after June 2019, I started moving out. I started meeting people. I created a network. I reached out. I met them. So when you do networking, you will probably send LinkedIn requests to probably 300, 400 people. Only 100, 150 will accept your request. Only 75 will probably reply to your messages. Only 50 would be able to actually meet you and give time to you. So even if you see from 500 requests to 50 actually meeting you, then you're converting your meeting potential to 10% of what you're doing, right? And 10% is a good conversion rate. So think like that. Not everyone's going to reply without any grudges, because people are so occupied, they don't get time, they have so many commitments to fulfill. So people can be busy, right? And not 100% of people are free enough to help people around because they are so entangled in their daily life. So don't ever hold a grudge. Send 2 or 3 probably follow-up messages, they don't reply. Even after that they don't reply, then probably try after some time where you can find some common grounds to discuss again, and then reach out again. Hey, I know that you are interested in this, or hey, I know you are attending this conference, even I'm going to be there, it's going to be good to catch up. And then probably they will reply because now they have time, and now you have common grounds to talk about. So this is the entire conversation that I had with this friend of mine. And coming back to when I started this conversation, it was July 2019, and I got my job in May 2020. So just imagine it took me 10, 11 months for that networking activity that I did with this friend of mine to really convert. And finally, I got the job. And I would say it worked for me. I know it was a long period. I know it was a painful period. Between those 10 months, I had to work in a warehouse for a survival job, right? And it was like 40 hours a week, 10 hours a day, and entire day you have to stand. In fact, not stand, you have to actually work, you can't sit. Only except for 2 breaks of 30 minutes each. So it was a painful period for me, but I constantly kept in touch to our conversation. I sent them a message frequently. I checked on them. They checked on me. We had phone calls, discussions, and discussed more about economy, what is happening around. So that is what it built on. And I still remember I was in India earlier this year in February, March. I was there for 3 weeks. And first 2 weeks I was having fun without getting much bothered about what's happening to my job and what's going to happen to my career. In the third week at the beginning, a couple of my friends, 2 friends from this networking activity, who became my friends later on, they send me a message, hey, I have opening in my company. This is the job description. If it looks like you can work, if you find it interesting, we can try for it. We had a discussion, and this friend of mine where I'm working right now in the company, the one who referred me and the one through which I got the job, we had a discussion, and he knew what kind of work I was looking at. So he called me in India and he said, hey Abhi, it's like it's not 100% of what you want to do, but it's 80% of what you want to do. So just imagine putting a number to what kind of work I want to do. He knew that 80% of what I want to do. So because he knew me so well, and I trusted him, and I said that if you think this is 80% of what I want to do, and after reading at the job description, I know I can do it, then let's give it a shot. And then we tried for it, and think about it, it was before the time when Corona really hit Canada. So it was second week of March, and all these restrictions were put in third week of March by Justin Trudeau here. So it was that time when from India I sent the resume. I could have said, "Oh, I'm in India. Let me come back and then I'll do it in just a matter of a week." But I did not do it, and it really worked. What what would have happened after a week? I didn't know that. So I sent to it the process. It got slow, I would say, but we were still in conversation between me and the company. I'm talking about the formal process that I had to run, like the interviews, the video calls. So I had to clear that entire process, but it happened. It happened slowly, but it happened all through that COVID period. And I was constantly in touch, in conversation with that friend of mine. On every single issue, I used to reach out to him, take his opinion, value his opinion, and I move accordingly. So that is what I did, and that is how much value I put to it. So this is the experience. It took 10 months for me. It might take time for you. Even if I would have got an entry level job somewhere, I would have done that. But I would have still kept that contact and that connection with those people because, uh, let alone the job part of it, I like the guy. I like those people. I want to stay connected. It becomes, for me, it becomes my way of showing my knowledge, sharing my education, sharing common interest. That is so fulfilling. So think about networking from that wide perspective. So that is what has happened with me, and it will definitely help you. I can say that. It's just that you have to give time to it. You have to do it with the right approach. So that is all on the networking side. And one additional thing that I would like to share today is that while I was looking for work, networking was working for me. I was talking to people, but applying online never worked for me, right? So I applied to probably 100, job openings in Canada, but I did not hear from any one of them. And I have given 8 interviews in Canada, and all of those 8 interviews were through referral. The people I connected with, they were taking care for me. They were at my back. They were looking after me. So all those 8 interviews I've given through those referrals, and it worked. And in January, February this year, when I was looking for work, one of the suggestions I got from somebody was about getting into the mortgage profession, and that is something new, which is coming up now. But because I was not getting a job in the corporate sector, I had to do something. I did not want to go to India. I like this country. I like it very much. I wanted to stay here and build my life and career here. So mortgage is something I relate to because, as I said, I was into advisory, and my advisory was on fundraising and capital raising for corporates, which also included mortgage, which included commercial mortgages and residential mortgages as well. So I relate to that profession as well. I wasn't into accounting or auditing or taxation, but my role was more into finance. My role was more into fundraising and advisory. So I could relate to that. So before all this happened on the job front, before my friend reached out to me, I cleared my licensing examination in Canada, and uh, mortgages is a licensed profession in Canada. So I cleared that licensing exam, and now I have the Ontario mortgage agent license as well. So I practice that as well along with my work. So if any of you or your friends who are here, who are planning to come here and planning to buy their first house, or who have already got the first house and then they have a mortgage which they would like to refinance, or they want to have a plan around it, then I'm attaching my link in the description to my website. They can reach out to me. We can have a discussion around it and see what is really going to help them to manage their finances. Of course, mortgage is one decision which is a very big financial decision for most of us, probably the biggest one for all of us. So it has to be right. If it wasn't right at the first place, we can set it right. Yeah. So I'm attaching my link in the description. Share it with people whom you think can get benefit out of it. Even if it is going to be a discussion, I don't mind it. I'll be happy to have a discussion around it. So that is the another news that I had to share with you. So this is all for today. I hope you liked the video. If you liked it, please press the like button. If you know people who can get benefit out of it, please share with them. If you have not subscribed to the channel till now, please subscribe to the channel. And all those links that I mentioned are there in the description below. Thank you very much.